This is an Atherton dark nymph. I'm using the recipe from Dave Hughes' American Fly Tying Manual, tying it on a number 12 hook. He says 8 to 16 nymph hook. You could put weight on it. I'm not going to put weight on this one, but weight your nymphs as you desire. The tail is furnace, and I'm going to use a furnace dry hackle. I have the whole tip of the feather. I'm going to tie that in by the butt end. Try to keep it on top of my shank. And I'll wrap back to where I want it on the bend of the hook. I can wrap underneath of it to try to hold the fibers up. Obviously I don't want the whole feather here, so what I will do is just pick up on the feather tip and snap it out, and then I'm left with tail fibers. And on a nymph, that's all I need. I can use a hackle feather that's got the barbs long enough to create that tail. For the rib, I'm using gold oval tinsel. Wrap that back to the tail. The body on this fly, according to the recipe, is gray, muskrat, and claret seal fur. Well, I actually do have a bag of seal scraps that I got somewhere, but none of them are the right color, and the muskrat I have is actually more an off-white and very fine rather than a gray, so I am just taking and mixing up some gray and rusty brown awesome possum, and that gives me the color. And I think on this fly the color is more important than the ingredients themselves. I suppose that there is something about the properties in muskrat and seal that Atherton liked. But those are also furs that are less and less available now. And I'll just wrap that dubbing up. Need to keep adding little bits till I get the right amount to where the abdomen stops and the thorax starts. And it is supposed to be a fairly full and buggy kind of abdomen. I will counter wrap the rib. That'll keep it on top of the dubbing better, although it is supposed to be a fairly buggy body and I could tease it out a little bit more if I wanted to. I think it's fine. Counter wrapping the rib keeps it on top. Wrapping the rib the same direction as the body material is put in will maybe segment more, but it will also kind of hide the rib as it sinks down into the body material. Clip that out. The wing casing on this fly is blue. The recipe in Dave Hughes' book calls for blue goose, blue-dyed goose. I don't have blue-dyed goose quills. I do have blue-dyed turkey. And it's probably a more vibrant blue than is generally used, but it's what I have and I think it will work just fine. That will fold forward for the wing casing. I'll put some more of that gray and claret. All right, what is claret? I know the color claret from some thread that I have, and this rusty brown is very close to that color. So just build the thorax up with that same dubbing, a little bit more. There is a variety of ways, there are a variety of ways to tie in the hackle on this fly. Some use a full hackle, some use other kinds of feathers. The recipe in Dave Hughes' book calls for furnace, but it's also a very short hackle. Almost can't see it in the picture. So I'm using a very short, actually dry fly hackle, but we're going to work with that and modify it for this fly. And because it's so short, I've got quite a bit of stuff out in front there that I'm going to have to clean up, but that's all right. Cleanup is part of the process. Go ahead and clip out some of that right now. And I'll fold that wing or wing casing over the top, and that will fold down the hackle that's on the top. If I hold the casing a little bit to the front, then when I wrap over the top of it, it will hopefully get it smack dab on top. Grab underneath, over the top again. This down eye hook, I tend to drop my thread off the front of the hook. Clip that out and wrap the head. Try to hide whatever blue I have there. I'll put a whip finish on that. Take care of my thread. Then I'm going to turn the fly upside down so that I can see and reach better. And I'm going to trim out the hackle on the bottom. So then all I'm left with is a few hackles on the side, and hopefully those kind of lean back. They're very short, and those are the legs on this particular nymph. I do use a diluted goop for my head cement, not always, but most of the time. So I stick a needle in my jar, grab a drop of that, put the drop on the head. That'll soak in, dry clear, and I can run a hackle feather through the eye of the hook. Make sure that it's clean, and a tippet will